Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, Mr. John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. We are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
We also have joining us AMC's Christian Harloff.
Oh yeah, I'm going to keep saying it until it's time. Apes on Horses be here on Friday.
We also have joining us AMC's Mary Jetikin.
Apes on Horses! I'll say it too.
Nice.
So excited.
And the director of the upcoming film, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, Mr. John Schnepp.
I'm going to say Snowpiercer, go see it immediately.
Yeah. And hey, listen, guys, we got a few things I want to tell you about before we get to it. Unsurprisingly, no big major movie news comes out over the 4th of July weekend. So today we're going to do all mailbag and all Twitter question day, which I'm excited about. But before we get into that stuff, a couple of important announcements. Number one, don't forget Comic-Con coming up, San Diego Comic-Con. We've got our Masters of the Web panel with very special guests, Manu Bennett from Arrow, from Spartacus, from the Hobbit films. He's been one of my favorites the last couple of years. Make sure you check it out. We're going to be over at John Schnepp's booth on Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah.
With me and some of the AMC Movie News crew to take our pictures, sign autographs, whatever you want. And our AMC meet and greet is going to be on the Friday night of Comic-Con. We'll give you all more details about that kind of stuff later. Also, another very important announcement. This one's kind of earth-shaking, maybe not for everybody. This announcement isn't for everybody, but it's a very important announcement nonetheless. And it's I found out about this and I feel bad. I have this, I get a lot of email every day, like hundreds of emails, or Twitter messages, Facebook, whatever. And I got into this conversation with this young woman named Kimberly McLeod. And Kimberly started telling me secrets. And she's got a husband, very handsome looking husband. They're recently married. And so I feel bad keeping the secret. So I need to tell Travis McLeod, dude, you're going to be a dad. Congratulations, sir. You are going to be a dad. So congratulations to the McLeod clan. Actually, I just got the Clan McLeod.
Yeah.
So some Highlander stuff in your future. Congratulations to you guys. We're really excited for us. Make sure you send us pictures. And hey, if he's a boy and you want to name him Giovanni or something like that, all the better. All right, so with that out of the way, folks, and congratulations once again, let's get to the mailbag questions today.
Brandon Pittman writes, hey AMC Movie Talk Crew, you guys are the best. My question for you guys is, which other genres or subgenres do you think horror can be combined with? To me, I think I've seen great depictions of sci-fi horror like Aliens and Prometheus, superhero horror like Blade in my opinion, and from the recent film Deliver Us from Evil with cops, crime, and demonic possessions mixed together in one film. What are your thoughts on mixing horror with the rest of the movie genres? Can this be implemented in any type of film?
Well, one of the great things about horror is that it's a really versatile genre.
Totally.
You really can mix it with just about anything at all. We've seen horror recently mixed with like a romance film like Warm Bodies. We've seen horror mixed with comedy many times, whether it's like Shaun of the Dead or Army of Darkness, Zombieland, Slither, Cabin in the Woods.
Gremlins.
Gremlins is kind of a horror too, isn't it?
Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, they're all, well, Nightmare on Elm Street is a horror, but...
And I think you can combine it with drama. You can even combine horror with like a 70s political thriller. Right. I mean, it's just a really versatile genre that you can do an awful lot with. So I feel really good about it.
I'd like to see a few more in the fantasy realm, like Pan's Labyrinth.
Ooh,
to me, plays into that really well. And Legend was one that was a little more fantasy, but I still felt that it combined a nice horror. I mean, because
Tim Curry
was
Darkness.
so great as Darkness. So I'd like to see them explore more, because what Del Toro did for Pan's Labyrinth was, this works. Let's do more of that.
As long as Guillermo del Toro is doing it, I'll see it for sure. I think he could do a million of those, and I'd watch them all. I love comedy and horror. For me, that's like the golden combination, because so many great horror films have done both. And I think about the Evil Dead trilogy, not the new one, obviously, but Army of Darkness specifically. It was really not a horror film, but it was of a horror trilogy, so that's kind of interesting.
I'd like them to stay away from biopic horror, like Abraham Lincoln, vampires. Abraham Lincoln and zombies. Let's just keep biopics the way they should be. Don't add these.
Unless it's John Schnepp, Vampire Hunter, I would see that.
I remember I was talking about before the other week. I want Martin Luther King zombie slayer. That's the one I want. Okay, what's next?
FX Only writes, "Hi, love this show. I keep hearing on the show that comic book readers are a minority among moviegoers. I was also convinced by this, but now I want to make a counter argument. Take a look at the worldwide top grossing movies of 2014. The top 3 are based on Marvel Comics. Do you think that comic book readers are still a minority, or this changed due to the rise of comic movie films in the recent years? Keep up the good work."
No, they're still the vast, vast minority. I make an argument sometimes. I say, look, and this often comes up when people want to talk to us, is like they should have done this in the movie because this is what it is in the comics. And, Schnepp and I will often say, like, well, that's great, but nobody reads the comics, and therefore they won't care about that point. And I'll often say, like, 1 or 2% of the people going to the movies are actually comic book readers. Yes, the movies make huge money, and lots of people go to the movies, but it's not the comic book readers that are going to the movies. Look, here's a little statistic. The Dark Knight made $1 billion at the box office. $1 billion, okay? Now, if you go on a rough worldwide average of $10 per ticket, I think in the United States right now it's like $8.25 is the average ticket. But if you go on a worldwide thing, about, let's say $10 for argument's sake for a ticket. That means 100 million people bought tickets at one time or another. 100 million tickets were bought to go see The Dark Knight, all right? Now, let's go to May, just, 2 months ago. The Batman comic sold, and it was one of the top-selling comic books, sold 100,000 copies.
Was it Batman or Batman Eternal or
No, it was
Detective Comics?
Batman. It was Batman. It was Batman proper.
Right on.
Batman sold 100,000 comics, and it's one of the top 5 selling comics of the month. All right, so that means 100,000 people are reading the Batman proper thing, right? That literally represents, out of the 100 million tickets sold, that represents literally 1% of the people who went to go see The Dark Knight actually read the Batman comics. If you go down even more, Avengers made like what, 1.6 or something like that billion?
Just shy of 2.
Right. So, but the Avengers comic book in May sold 52,000 issues. 52,000 people are buying that. Let's look at Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman sold 30,000 issues.
Poor Wonder.
So basically, our point is simply that the studios can't make it their focus ever to just please the comic book fans. Make sure you get the stuff from the comic book right. That's not the important thing. The important thing is make a good, entertaining movie that'll appeal to everybody. Because those sweaty nerds, those of us, my brother and sisters in, virginity for life, we got to understand that, like, we are the vast, 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 vast minority. Those of us who actually read the comics, and so that's kind of the way it kind of goes. Any thoughts on that?
It's not to say that these movies haven't gotten more people into comics.
Yeah.
I think that possibly is a definite. But I agree with everything you said there. I just think that after a while, there's the comic book part. Like again, Star Wars. Using Star Wars, I have read a lot of the novels. I know a lot of people haven't. So when I'm yelling about certain things, going, how come that's not in it? No one cares. No one cares. And I'm definitely a minority in that place. In specific genres, the readers of the core material are the minority.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that no one cares, no one knows.
Right.
Yes,
that's even more
a
so,
better way
I
to
think.
put it.
Right.
That's a better
It's like
way
if
to
they
put
knew
it,
about it, they might care, but since they don't, it's glossed
What I meant
over.
was no one cares that I read it.
Right.
That's what I meant more than anything.
That's for sure. And even if you added up all 5 of the Batman titles, that's 2%. Because it's like most of them don't sell 100,000. There's Detective. That's why I asked, because just like Spider-Man or all the top comic books.
But a lot of those guys are just the same guys buying each issue.
Yes, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It varies,
Right.
So I mean, are more people going to buy comics? Probably not.
I don't know. I think the one nice thing, and you kind of touched on this, is that the movies are inspiring a new generation to look at the comic books. Like my nephews are super into all the superhero movies, and now that's their gateway into comics. Whereas
Right.
it used to be comics was the gateway into movies.
I
So
guess
I
let's
think that's kinda
specifically
cool.
say comic books. I'm
books.
referring to the actual paper. Like digital is rising more than anyone ever guessed in the comic book industry. So it's nice to see that digital comics are rising. They're cheaper. It's easier for kids to get into. It's just a lot easier. You don't have to carry
My favorite
my
app.
stack of comics. You just have them on
Comixology?
an
Yeah,
iPad.
Comixology is my favorite. I've got a Google Nexus 7. I've got a Kindle Fire 8.9, and like the #1 app that is most used on both of those tablets are my Comixology, because it's so. I could be laying in bed. This is a great thing about Comixology. I'm laying in bed, or the Marvel app, or the DC app, whatever. But I'm laying in bed, 2:00 in the morning, can't sleep. I wonder if the new Dayman issue's out. Tap, there it is, $2. Read. It's so
That's
good.
incredibly dangerous too.
Yes,
because I
it
found a lot
is.
of my friends are like, Man, I'm buying so many digital comics now because I just read them, and it's so easy to just from my house. I just bam, I have the comic. So in certain ways, it's making it easier for people to enjoy comics, not comic books, so to speak. So.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Christian Zada writes, "Hi AMC Movie Crew, love the show and watch it every day. This year we have been hearing a lot about comic book movies, and don't get me wrong, I love them, but what is your most anticipated drama? Mine is Foxcatcher."
Mary?
I love dramas, and I wanted to answer this question because a lot of people talk about the death of.
I'm going to interrupt for a second.
what?
Man, I love that poster. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
That's all. So sorry if you're
No, no, it's great.
That's
Let's-
a great
It's like a
poster.
novel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. But a lot of people talk about how, drama films are really suffering because of comic book movies and they're being squeezed out of the marketplace. And in a way that's true, but in a way it's not. Because if you look at the slate for this coming fall and into the winter, there are some amazing, amazing films. You mentioned Foxcatcher, that's a great one. I'm really excited for Interstellar because it combines Christopher Nolan, Matthew McConaughey, and astrophysics. And I think that's just a really exciting combination. And I also wanted to mention The Birdman, because it's bringing back Michael Keaton.
Is that really a drama?
Oh, yeah. It looks
I
like
think
it looks
it
like- it looks like
is.
a dark comedy.
Yeah,
it looks more like
but
a dark
it's,
comedy.
but it's
Yeah.
Iñárritu, who I don't even
Yeah.
think Iñárritu. I don't know how to say his name properly, but I think he, he did 21 Grams and Amores Perros, and like his movies, even when there's humor, are pretty like.
Did he do Beautiful
dark.
as well? I think he did with
Yeah,
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, with Javier Bardem. I'm pretty sure he did that.
I'm looking for Gone Girl. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the one I want to see. I mean, Fincher for me, and then I want to see Affleck take a more serious turn. He did really well in Argo, and now his chops. Everyone was talking about his chops with Batman, and that was the big thing. Oh, I don't know if Daredevil, and his acting has come along so much from them. So I'd like to see what he's going to do with this dark story. To me, Fincher movies.
And it's interesting about that. Fincher actually reached out to Affleck to do that. I mean, which I think says a lot.
Did you read the book? Cause,
I did not.
Because
no.
he actually, I would never have called it, but casting-wise, it actually makes total sense with the character. Because he's really good-looking, but he's kind of smarmy, and Ben Affleck can play that. Like, we've seen him play it so
And
many
in the
times.
book, the character is best friends with Matt Damon. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, so perfect.
And they read a
fit.
script together.
Snap, what dramas are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Let's Be Cops. I think that's what it is. 'Cause that's the most realistic.
Don't laugh.
thing.
I am looking forward to Let's Be
I'm
Cops.
I'm not joking around.
Not really a
I'm dead
drama
serious.
per se, but
I guess the closest drama that I'm looking forward to is I just saw the trailer last week with Bill Hader and Catherine. I think Heigl.
Skeleton
Skeleton?
Twins?
Yeah, the Skeleton Twins. This looks fun to me because it's definitely going to be a comedy, but it's going to be like a dramedy, and those are the kind of dramas. That
I know I'm kidding around saying it like every single episode I'm on, but does Apes? I guess Dawn of the Planet of the Apes looks like a pretty hardcore drama.
It transcends
it's more
genre.
like sci-fi,
So
fantasy, adventure, drama, all
I'll
mixed into
judge
one.
it after I see
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you know what I'm looking forward to is Fury, too, with Brad Pitt. The tanks,
yeah,
World
yeah.
War II.
See, I limited my. The reason I had a little bit of hard
That's
time coming
drama.
up with this because I was thinking just pure drama, not sci-fi.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I don't have Interstellar on my list.
Yeah.
What about The Judge?
Oh,
Yeah,
Well,
the
that's
see,
Judge.
see,
I mean, that's
that is
straight
on
up
my list.
drama.
I've got 4 here that I actually wanted to bring up. One is obviously Foxcatcher,
Yeah.
dying to see this movie. One is The Judge. The trailers to me just sold me.
Yeah.
Like after you get past, oh, that's just Tony Stark in the
Right.
first 30 seconds of the trailer. Once you get past that, it's like,
It's like a new
this
Rain
looks,
Man.
it
Yeah.
looks really compelling.
Yeah.
But the other two are Gone Girl,
Yeah.
the one that you've mentioned. And the other one I'm really looking forward to is the new Tate Taylor film, Get On Up, the biopic on James
Oh,
Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love what Taylor did with The Help. I am unabashed, huge defender of The Help.
It's a good
I
movie.
love that film and what he did with it. And to see what he was able to do with characters, because that's all The Help is, just the characters. To see what he can do with this biopic, yeah. So for once again, the 4 for me, Foxcatcher, Get On Up, Gone Girl, and The Judge. Those are the 4 I'm really
I thought you were going to
looking
say, I just really like James Brown.
I'm just so
I just want to get
I
on
thought you were
up.
going to say James Brown versus zombies.
Yes.
Then I'm in.
I'll see that.
So.
Those damn racist zombies. Okay, what's next?
Sam Holden writes, "Hi AMC, I love the show, watch it every day. My question is, can someone make a Norse god Thor movie or one about the mythical Norse gods without any of the Marvel elements in it and only follow the myths without them being aliens, or are all the characters copyrighted?"
Nope, anybody can do it. It's the same thing, like think of it in these terms. Wizard of Oz. Take Wizard of Oz, right? You had one studio make Wizard of Oz, but you have another studio doing some animated Wizard of Oz, and you had another studio altogether come out with Oz the Great and Powerful, right? So basically, what they can do is any studio can make a Wizard of Oz film that is based on the original book, if I'm not mistaken, right? But here's where it gets a little tricky, right? So the original Wizard of Oz movie comes out, and the ruby slippers, guess what? Not in the book. So that movie actually came up with the ruby slippers. So now another studio like Oz the Great and Powerful can make Oz the Great and Powerful, and they can have all the stuff from the books, but since that studio came up with the ruby red slippers, they can't do anything with ruby red slippers. That's why in the new films you don't see the ruby slippers at all. They'll never be mentioned, whatever.
Or the monkeys.
And
blue
they
monkeys.
They can't call them monkeys, apparently. They had to call them something else. So anything that's originated in other works. So what you can do, Thor is not copyrightable. The character of Thor is not copyrightable. So what you can do is, you can make a movie based on Thor, but what you cannot do is have anything in your new Thor movie that isn't in the original mythology, but is included in any of the Marvel Thor films. But if you can avoid anything that's original in the Marvel Thor films, then theoretically, you're good. How do you guys understand?
That just sounds like a lot of work.
It
Let's
does.
find another.
But
Let's just find another.
You know what to
character.
me it sounds interesting though is if Marvel did do a spin-off movie on seeing how well Guardians does. Let's see how well Guardians does. And if that sci-fi kind of spin-off world works, I'd like to see that movie where it doesn't tie into the Avengers. Just what's going on those other planets with the politics on Asgard and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That would be cool to me. Like I think Marvel could have an extended universe there that their own. I mean, Disney already owns Star Wars, but their own kind of sci-fi world there with Guardians on one side. You have this. It could be a lot of mythical.
It's waiting to
elements.
happen. I mean, as a kid, I read all those Jack Kirby, Stan Lee Thors that have Sif, the Warriors 3.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's Baldar the Brave. You have infinite stories that can be spun off. I'd love to see a TV series that just deals with Tales of Asgard or something like that. But Hercules is another example where Frankenstein, another example where, hey, I can make a Frankenstein movie. All of us can be in it, and I could call it Frankenstein. It doesn't even have anything to do with Frankenstein. You could call it Frankenstein.
And nobody can have a Bride of Frankenstein character in it because that's already been covered.
So yeah, I mean, a case in point, like all the Hercules, you could have your different spin on Hercules, but Thor specifically, like on Netflix, you can watch a movie called Thor: Hammer of the Gods. It has nothing to do with the Thor that Marvel owns. It's just some other story. So
Well, it's the Norse mythology is so rich too. So there's so many
there's
things
so
you could
much
do.
you can go there. All right, what's next?
Gerard Tulo writes, hello, my filthy dark nights of the old AMC Republic. Love the show more than life itself. Pixar's Ratatouille is not only my favorite Pixar film, not only is it my favorite animated film, it's my second all-time favorite film after Star Wars, of course. My big concern is that Ratatouille will and probably has already become a forgotten Pixar film. I still always see products for the other Pixar films, such as Monsters, WALL-E, and Nemo, but nothing for Ratatouille. And I've had conversations where I mention the film and the other person would say, oh yeah, I forgot about that film. Am I just being paranoid?
No, I'm guilty of that. But don't worry about the merchandising. I mean, it's harder to merchandise a rat. It is. So don't worry about that. Like if you've got a rat doll and a Wally doll, 9 times out of 10 you're going for the Wally doll.
It's a cute rat.
It is a very
He's
cute
a
rat.
really
love
cute
this
rat.
I was so I still remember I was still doing movie blog at the time. I was incensed when Ratatouille did not get nominated for Best Picture that year. It absolutely deserved. It was the #1 critically rated film of the year, and it didn't get a nomination for Best Picture. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all that stuff. Yes, it gets overlooked. Yes, it gets undersold because yes, it is a masterpiece of a film. It's wonderful, and probably the reason most of us even know who. I just lost his name.
Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt is because of. And he was so good doing the voice and the relationship between the two. But not just our two main characters, the relationship between Ratatouille and his dad.
Yep.
There's so much going on
So many
there.
themes, like, breaking away from the colony and doing your own thing. And, people talk about great cooking films. They talk about Big Night and all these wonderful movies. I always rate Ratatouille as one of the best cooking movies because it makes me want to eat.
Yep.
I watch it and I'm like, I want to eat cheese and a strawberry together. I
That's
want
a
to do
goal.
that.
And that's
Now.
a goal. That is a big plus when a rat's making it and you still want to eat.
Yeah.
But for
rats
me,
in the kitchen. What's going on?
For
Yum.
me, the movie, I agree. I don't think you're paranoid at all because I forgot at one point it was a Pixar film. Like I remember saying it's a great movie. It's one of the best animations in a very long time. But so we were listing off Pixar films. I forget where, and I'm going. Oh, someone said Ratatouille. I go, that's not Pixar. And then like, oh wait, it is. I don't know why this has happened, but it has happened.
Well, it's one of the reasons is there's no Ratatouille 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Ratatouille is what they should just call it with a two right there.
Ratatouille.
Right
I would
there.
love to see a sequel. I would go see that.
But that's the problem. I mean, I think a lot of movies, and that's just how life is. You move on, and if the person who wrote that question loves Ratatouille, the way you'll keep it alive is in your heart, and tell people who've never seen it to share the Ratatouille experience that you had, because that's the only way you keep these movies alive. The Iron Giant is another movie that's
Love that
overlooked.
movie. Yeah.
It's a classic.
So
It's
great.
fantastic. One of my favorite animated films ever. But people, the majority of people didn't see it when it came out in the theaters. Might have heard about it, and then they just skip over it. Oh, it's a kid's
Probably
movie.
the best acting Vin Diesel's ever done.
It's some, yeah.
we haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet.
Oh, that's
right?
true.
So-
He is Groot.
Yeah.
I've got
I
a
am
soft
Groot.
spot for Riddick. So,
And
you know.
I like Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
But yeah, I mean, so that's going to happen with a lot of films, not just animated films. And it's you know, I'm sure you're in a very in the micro 10% of a -1% of the likes it as their favorite movie besides Star Wars. So that's pretty cool. So you really obviously love it. So I would just share it with as many of your friends who haven't seen it
Yeah.
as possible. So.
All right, folks, we're going to do 2 more quick mailbag questions, and then we're going to take some time to get to your questions who are watching us live. We do this show live every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're watching us live, you can start tweeting in questions right now to @AMC Movie News. Chris Lee's going to keep her eye on that. She's going to pick out some Twitter questions at the end, but we're going to fly through just a couple more mailbags right now. So Chris Lee, let's keep going.
Max Clark writes, hey, how come Tom Cruise hasn't been typecast as Ethan Hunt in the same way Daniel Radcliffe has been as Harry Potter?
Well, one of the main reasons is because Tom Cruise was already a big, major, established star. I mean, before he ever did the first Mission Impossible, he did Taps, The Outsiders, Risky Business, All the Right Moves, Legend, Top Gun, Color of Money, Cocktail, Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, Days of Thunder, Far, Far Away, Few Good Men, The Firm, The Interview with the Vampire. These are all before he ever did the first one. And to be honest with you, when people hear Tom Cruise even now, nobody thinks Ethan Hunt.
Right.
I mean, we think of him in a million different ways.
I think of him as platinum level, executive club action star.
I'm curious how
he could
old
do
the
anything.
viewer was who wrote the email, because to him that might be the first thing he ever saw.
Yeah.
In it. So maybe
Sure.
that's why.
But even since then, Magnolia, Eyes Wide Shut, Vanilla Sky, Minority Report, Last Samurai, Collateral,
Absolutely,
War of the Worlds.
Amazing.
and we don't know from what Daniel Radcliffe is going to do from here on. He might be in a ton of movies, but the difference is with this guy, who if he's younger, who wrote it, it's the first thing he ever saw him, and he associated him as Ethan Hunt. I get it, because for me, I associate Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter because I've watched the kid grow up as Harry Potter. Now Emma Watson.
Yeah, she's broken out more.
She's broken out more, and she will eventually maybe do another role that you go, oh, that's so and so now. It's not even Hermione. So it's just a matter. Tom Cruise is a different type of movie star, though. He's Tom Cruise and everything he does because he's
I don't even remember what his character names are in any of the movies.
You're like Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. And when the Tom Cruise character did this,
What's
that's
his
how
name in Jack Reacher?
Oh yeah.
Okay, right.
That's right.
No, also the other thing is
Justin, I
that
think.
Daniel Radcliffe is younger by many years. So Tom Cruise has all these years of experience. To your point, when you're reading off all those titles, Tom Cruise has been working since the early 80s. So he's got a lot of time on Daniel Radcliffe. So
Well,
we'll
and
see.
with Radcliffe, like you're saying, watch him grow up. It's the only thing people know him from.
Yeah.
We were
It's early.
introduced to him as Harry Potter, and then that's all he was for 8 years. Was
Yeah, he's
Harry
in a couple.
Potter.
He's
So, I
in
mean,
a
it's
Ricky Gervais,
natural.
series.
An episode,
Yeah.
it's
And one horror
episodes.
film.
And also
horror
the
film.
fact that Harry Potter was these books were beloved and so popular, and when you're playing this character that people have already in their head going, oh, I wonder what that looks like, and then it's him. Mission Impossible was based off of the series, and it's not the same phenomenon that Harry Potter was. So that's two different things.
So when Horns comes out, I'm sure they're going to be like, I wonder what Harry Potter's going to be like in Horns. It's going to take a little bit of while to get rid of that, you know.
All right, what's next?
Leo Berry writes, hi guys, love the show and that you bring so much insight to all movie news. My question is, do you think that Batman v Superman will do better at box office than The Dark Knight? Thanks and keep up the great work.
Yes. Yes. Now, put the little asterisk beside that. If it sucks, then it's going to have a great opening weekend because everybody's going to, even if it sucks, everybody's going to go see it opening weekend, much like Transformers. And we're all going to be there, but if it really sucks, it ain't going to have legs, and it's going to start to drop off and it won't reach it. But if I've said this before, I will say it again, I firmly believe this. Even if it's not great, if Batman v Superman is just good, give me a 6.8 out of 10. If it's just good, yes. Dark Knight made just a breath over 1 billion worldwide, which is very impressive. I believe a good, not even awesome, Batman v Superman movie, I believe, can annihilate that. I really, really do. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Dark Knight for me is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the movie, and I wanted to say that first. One of the reasons it did so well was the unfortunate passing of Heath Ledger and the buzz behind it. So everyone wanted to go out and see it in the theater, and it was getting all this buzz. This hopefully does not have that element to it at all. Nothing happens like that. But everyone's going to want to see Batman and Superman just throw punches at each other for a second if that happens. I don't think it's going to beat the Dark Knight box office, even if it's great. There's something.
You don't think this will be a $1 billion film?
I do, but I still don't think it's going to catch. I still don't think it's going to catch the Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight is like literally
right
at like
there.
1 billion.
You know what I think? You know why I think you might be wrong is also because since The Dark Knight came out, the marketing and the buzz around movies, in my view, has exploded. Like even then, and it wasn't that long ago, I feel like we're hearing movie news now about movies that are 3 years in pre-production.
But one of the things you're not taking into consideration is that right now they are still going head-to-head with Captain America. Now, if Captain America moves, then maybe you guys are all right, but that's going to take business away.
Well, yes, it will.
So
yes, it will.
So that's why I think that's the reason why.
But none of us believe that's actually going to happen. None of us believe
I don't know.
two movies are going to stay on the same day.
It literally is Batman and Superman, the two of them.
Chicken is going to be going all the way until April, and then I swear I'm calling it. Well, not like I'm the first person to say this, but I'm sure Batman versus Superman will move back 2 weeks.
But that's not that easy, though. You know, to do that in that time, there's going to be another slot.
Here's the thing, though. There is word going around. There is a rumble. There's probably nothing to this at all. But I'm giving it a little bit of credence because it does seem to make sense. There is some rumblings going around right now that WB right now and has for a while and has always planned to release Batman v Superman in 2015. That has always been the plan. And some people are speculating that come Comic-Con, an actual announcement is going to be made. And that's why nobody's blinking, and that's why nobody's blinking in this stupid putting Batman v Superman and Captain America 3 on the same day. That's ridiculous. You're a moron if you do that. And so a lot of people are thinking, look, the plan's always been 2015. They're putting out marketing pictures already 2 years in advance.
Right.
Look, it's probably not true. It's probably still going to be 2016. I don't believe it'll be on the same day as Captain America 3. But there is a little bit of anecdotal evidence, if you will, that there could be this wild conspiracy about releasing in 2015.
What if it gets released in 2015 and then that date is Justice League? They're just like, no, we're keeping that date, son. Justice League versus Captain America. Then it might change some stuff. I think it'll go over $1 billion if it's a good movie. Yeah. If it's a great movie, it'll make more. I'm hoping it's a great film. It's like I'm holding out. So.
All right, I said we would get to some mailbag, some Twitter questions. And we're almost out of time, so we're just going to have a chance to get through a few of them. We'll go through them as fast as we can. So, Chrisley, what are people asking on Twitter?
Adam H says, "Love the show from England. Would you like to see a movie or animated version of the graphic novel Superman: True Grit?"
I got to admit, I haven't read it. I haven't read
Superman
it.
what?
True Grit.
I haven't read it.
True Grit?
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with it.
And there's a Superman universe going on right now, so they won't be deviating from that. Okay, what's next?
Terrence Page wants to know which Disney animated movie you prefer more, Toy Story or The Lion King?
Toy Story.
Toy
Story.
You
for
don't
me.
like those old school animations, huh? Beauty and
I
Beast. What do you got against
do.
Lion King now?
No, I love The Lion King, actually. I just, for me, Toy Story is more watchable over and over again. So
it's such a
Toy
great
Story.
question, but I think Lion King is my all-time favorite animated film.
Yeah,
I'm going to say Lion King.
I'm going to go with Lion King.
I'm against Lion King just because it has sex written in the sky.
That would almost be a
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what's next?
Robert DeFurro, which do you like better, Goodfellas or Godfather?
Godfather.
Goodfellas.
Oh, really?
Yep.
There are human beings that
Godfather
would
1 or
prefer
2?
Goodfellas.
Yeah, two over Goodfellas. Goodfellas over
Goodfellas
one.
is awesome. Goodfellas is awesome, but it's the Godfather. There is no Goodfellas without the Godfather.
You're right,
Plus,
but that doesn't
you
mean I
can't
won't
say
watch.
Godfather 1 without 2. It's the same. You have to
Yeah,
watch
it's the
both
same.
movies.
Yeah,
so,
true.
so
But
it's Godfather.
I, for me,
Another very good question, though.
I know,
Yeah.
but for
You
me,
would go Goodfellas.
Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it probably more
It's
than
a
any other
great
film.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I've seen Goodfellas more than I've seen Godfather.
me too.
So
See?
that's,
You know,
that's
I
a pretty
have
good
two.
argument.
I have two. I think I have two.
I just think it's more
I literally
watchable.
just watched Goodfellas like 2 nights ago. It was on. I
I'd say
just sat
Goodfellas
there.
is
good.
ultimately more rewatchable.
Exactly.
How's that way worming
Remember
out of
the
it, you know?
Animaniacs? Did
That's-
you guys ever watch the Animaniacs? Remember they got the 3 pigeons that were all based on the Goodfella?
No, it's awesome.
Really?
No, I've never seen that episode.
Yeah. It's not that episode. There are 3 recurring characters throughout the whole show,
Okay.
and there are 3 pigeons, and they're basically the Goodfellas. They call themselves the Goodfeathers. and they're just based on the Goodfellas.
So what,
A
you
children's
have, like-
cartoon
Awesome.
for this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, okay. 2 more.
Alan Schroeder says, do you think that there will be more Jump Street sequels if 22 Jump Street is successful, even with the end credit scene?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. It's money.
Yeah,
It makes
free money. It's free money. It's printing money.
And they have fun making them.
Yeah, it was just the way those credits ended that makes you go, well, what are they gonna? How are they gonna play into that? But they'll find a way.
They
Those guys are
won't.
really-
That's just that was just fun.
77 Jump Street. Just call it 77.
I mean, I'd
like
go
it.
see it
Yeah.
if they did.
Well, the thing
Oh,
is,
yeah.
that movie was so on the nose about what it was doing that
Yeah.
you could do that again if everybody's excited. But I don't want them to obviously just do it just for money. But if they have a take and they all sit down and go, guys, we could really do something funny here. What if we did this? Then yeah, that
Right.
gets me excited.
All right, last one.
Gravy says, because Disney owns both Marvel and Pixar, do you think that there's any possibility to see Marvel characters in The Incredibles 2?
Oh my God.
I will say yes.
That would be
say-
great.
I don't think it would be a good idea. I don't think it would be smart, but the possibility certainly exists. I mean, from a legal point of view, there's nothing stopping them from doing it if they wanted to.
Cameos would be fun.
Yeah.
I think cameos could be cool. And then what's this? And Big Hero 6 is also another Marvel property as well,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what they
I personally would hate that. It would corrupt that universe. I
Even
like the
cameos?
Incredibles.
They've already done a history of the superheroes in that universe. It had
it's
nothing
its own
to do with
universe.
Marvel
I don't think they
characters.
should.
Yeah.
You know, it's its
I
own
liked
thing.
also that in The Incredibles it has this mid-century feeling, and I feel like if they had a Marvel character thrown in there, it would kind of be a
I think it would feel like a wrench
incongruous-
suddenly thrown
yeah,
in the engine.
it
It
would
would
just
feel very
weird.
jarring to me.
Yeah. Like them holding up a Hulk action figure. Mommy, I want that. It would be like product placement. It's
Yeah.
like, and that would still be horrible.
It
but
just
that's the
wouldn't
only
fit
way
into the
I see it.
world that
Yeah.
they've already created.
All right, folks, we're all out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, congratulations to the McLeods of the Clan
that's
McLeods. We're really happy for you guys. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, I'm actually kind of floored how many people listen to our audio podcast. Jump down into the comment section, or not the comment section, the description of this video, and you'll find a link to our podcast feed so you can listen to us on the way to work or while you're at the gym or wherever. And listen, if you haven't done so already, click on the subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and it'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news. And click the thumbs up button on this video, just a cool way of letting other people and us know that you like the videos we're doing. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, Mr. Christian Harloff, who watched UFC fights with me this
did.
weekend. Christian, hey, where can people find you?
You can find me dodging Ronda Rousey. I'll tell you that. At Christian Harloff and on Facebook, Schmoes Know.
And of course, sitting to my right, Miss Miri Jedikin. Mary, where can people find you?
At Mary the Jedi, everywhere.
Best Twitter handle ever. And of course, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
You guys can find me at Twitter, at Instagram, at John Schnepp, and also probably in the theater again, seeing Snowpiercer, which you should see immediately in the theater. It's incredible.
And our host today, Miss Chrisley Kennedy. Chrisley, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on all social media at Chrisley.
And you can find me on the various social media channels just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow. So until next time, for AMC Movie News, my name's John Campia. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.